ambitious professionals, it's Tegan Bartos, career strategist, speaker, and coach, giving you the tools you need for professional success, financial stability, and personal fulfillment. Today, I'm going to give you 6 tips on how to work a job fair. Whether you're going to a job fair in person or attending a virtual job fair, the same tips apply. And for those of you who aren't sure what a job fair is or aren't sure if a job fair is worth your time, I'll touch on that too. So let's get started. What is a job fair? A job fair is an event that brings together a mix of different companies and organizations that are actively searching for new hires. So you'll find a lot of times job fairs are done by industry, but oftentimes job fairs are completely random. So it really just depends. And so why go to a job fair then? Well, as a job seeker, it's an effective way to meet and connect with prospective employers, network with other professionals in your industry, and have on-the-spot interviews for open positions. Because there's going to be hiring managers and recruiters that have booth setups, or if it's virtual, going to have virtual breakout rooms set up with literature and other information about their company. And the main point is that they're going to be discussing open positions within their organization. So are job fairs worth going? Well, if you do the research and determine that there's a position that you're interested in and that employer is going to be there, then yes, absolutely, go to a job fair. So tip number 1, before you determine if going to a job fair is going to be beneficial to you, if it's going to be worth your time, get a list of employers that are at the job fair. Why? Because you want to research that company. You want to find out, are those companies you would want to work for? What would you do for them? Do they have positions currently available for you? And if not, can you create a target resume in case a position opens up in the future? So tip number 2, create a targeted resume and cover letter for that position you're interested in. Or if it's not an open position currently, for a position that you might potentially be interested in the future. So we've talked about this plenty in the past, that every single time you apply to a position, you need to tweak your resume or target your resume to the role that you're applying to. Now, this doesn't have to be hours worth of changes. No, this is a couple of minutes where you customize your resume and cover letter to say that this is who I am, this is what I've done in the past, and this is what I can do for you. So who I am and what I've done in the past isn't going to change, but what I can do for you is, because you're going to tweak your resume to make sure that your resume is a reflection upon the job that you're applying to and the company that you are applying to. So if that didn't give it away, tip number 3 is apply prior to going to the job fair. If you are going to a job fair, it is to have an in-person interview. It's almost like speed dating. You're going to speed date your way through different interviews. And before you can interview, you need to apply to the position. A lot of candidates that go to job fairs do not do this, and I have no idea why. But if it never crossed your mind, I am glad that you are watching this, so that way you can get the inside scoop that the expectation is that you have already done research on the company and that you already applied to the position that you're trying to interview for at that job fair. So what does that say about you? Well, that demonstrates your preparation for the job fair by applying beforehand, but also it gives you the advantage to make the recruiter or the hiring manager's job easier by posting that requisition number to your cover letter or to your resume, depending on how you're submitting your professional marketing materials to them. So that way they can easily look up your application so they can quickly determine, okay, yes, I wanted to hire this person or not. So tip number 4, practice your elevator pitch. You want to be hired, and that means that you need to have a strong elevator pitch. Recruiters are going to be speed interviewing hundreds of people at this job fair, so you want to stand out. You want to be confident. You want to reflect how you can add value to that company, specific to that employer and to the position that you're applying to. So what does this mean? Just like your resume and cover letter, you are going to tweak your elevator pitch to be specific to that company. Now, this is going to be probably even a more minute change than your resume and cover letter. But still, if you have the same elevator pitch for every single company you're going to, that means you're not targeting your elevator pitch to the role that you want to apply to. And that is a missed opportunity. You want to make sure you're being specific to the company and to the position that you're interested in. So that brings us to tip number 5, arrive early. Now, with the pandemic raging, chances are you're going to be going to virtual interviews or virtual job fairs, but I've actually seen a lot of drive-through job fairs where you're talking to someone through a window in your car. Now, this is a little bit different, but you want to make sure that whether it's virtual, in person, or a drive-through, that you're arriving early, because as the day goes on, the job fair is going to get busier and busier and busier. And you want to make sure that you can, say if it's in person, you want to walk the floor to see where your target companies are located. Sometimes they're arranged in alphabetical order, but sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to where they're at. You want to make sure you go to your target employers first, so that way you can get the most bang for the buck. Make sure that you are seeing the people that you came there to see. Now, if you have a little bit of anxiety, maybe it's your first job fair, a little bit nervous, maybe you see 1 or 2 lower level priority companies and then go, to your target companies. But you want to make sure you have enough time to speak to your target companies. And then you want to try to go to an employer that isn't currently with someone else. Now, with breakout rooms in a virtual setting, this is a little bit more difficult because there's going to be a certain amount of people in that breakout room. But if you are going to an in-person job fair, then you want to make sure that they're not bombarded with a bunch of people, so that way you can have a meaningful conversation. And arriving early should be a part of your strategy for working this job fair. And then it is okay to talk to employers that are outside of your target companies, because you never know if they'll have a position open, or maybe you looked at their company website, but maybe once you go and speak to that recruiter or speak to that hiring manager, there'll be something appealing about that company that you didn't previously get from your research. So this brings me to tip number 6. When you're speaking to those hiring managers or when you're speaking to those recruiters, get their contact information. Ask for a business card. And if you have business cards, give them yours in addition to your resume and in addition to your cover letter. And make sure that you follow up with them within 24 hours, because manners matter, etiquette matters. And a part of a job seeker's etiquette is to send those thank you notes. You want them to be succinct. You want them to be timely. You want them to be relevant. Because when you are competing with hundreds of other people at the same event, you want to do something that's going to stand out. So 2 of the biggest missed opportunities that I see people make when it comes to working a job fair is not applying beforehand and not following up with a thank you letter. If you can do those 2 things, and really if you can follow all 6 of these steps, you're going to by far stand out in any recruiter or hiring manager's mind. And that's because luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. You're not just going to get this job by luck. You're going to get this job because you prepared for it. And you can absolutely prepare for job fairs. So thank you all for tuning in today. If you have any questions about the job fair or any of the tips offered today, definitely drop a comment. Have a great day, guys.